I want to talk something about like, all right, being like influenced by someone and like unaware to yourself that how you were influenced by someone, but then after the fact you realize like in a way you inherited a real bad habit. Uh there was this dude, man, I lived with for a while, and he used to and walk around, and it was like he was talking to himself, but he really wasn't. In a way, he would do it in such a way where it would sound like real, what is that called, benign or non-harmful, but he'd do it to the point where you would just tune him out and you wouldn't pay attention to what he's saying. But if you start paying attention, it was like he was grumbling and murmuring in a very roundabout way, like in a very covert. I heard something called microaggression, or you could also say passive aggressive. Uh, and it's also kind of a way, I've heard this terminology. It's called ambient narcissistic abuse. And, it's like a lot of the time, just like I was influenced by this guy and I started to do it more after it. And it was like I inherited it through influence from the guy constantly doing it, to the point where I started to do it, to the point where it was like I always did it, but I never did it until I met this dude. And it's funny how, and also I seen how other people hung out with this dude, and now they really grumble and walk around and murmur and kind of, it's like it's called talking under your breath. There's also using a very covert like smile on your face, but you're being kind of like covertly really sarcastic, and it that's very, mm, in a way, you're provoking someone to take offense to it, but you did it in such a way where you, like, if someone accuses, you'll be like, I wasn't being offensive. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? It was always those type of tactics. Some people call it gaslighting, and there's a way that they can. It's called chaining and anchoring. What else is that called, man? Sensitizing. In a way, they can figure out. They can critique. It's like a weird game, man. And I realized too, I was listening to some people, and some people's opinion of gang stalking is like that. I could see this too, because this I've seen this in my life too now in retrospect, that uh it's just gossip. Like, people can gossip about you, and since you don't know where it's coming from and how it's getting to everyone, but really you ain't looking at the people around you, and they're grumbling and murmuring, and how much information for a third party who's just sitting around just gathering intel, basically, uh how much people present. See, but when the dude was doing it, he was doing it in such a way he knew what he was doing, and he wasn't trying to reveal nothing more than what he was trying to put out there, what he was trying to use. But when I started doing it, I just started spouting off what I was thinking inside of my head. Bad idea. You know what I'm saying? And uh in a way, it's like magicianry, because in a way you impose your babblings and murmurings and complainings and weird roundabout games, head games on the environment. So in a way, you're making the environment bend to your will in a very, like, really roundabout way. And it's like, looking back on it, uh I would have said, I'd have say, no, it's impossible for that to happen. But now looking back at it, it's just like I was saying about like those Aikido maneuvers. It's like they happen so freaking fast. It's like you don't even know how the one person made the other person fall, because it happened so freaking fast. You didn't get time to see what happened till after it's over. Uh, and you might have to see it done a few times and then even learn a little few things about it yourself before you'll figure it out altogether. Same thing with this kind of stuff here. And I have to catch myself. Uh, I had to reteach myself not to talk out loud because it puts off the wrong idea to people. They think you're talking to yourself, but really, it's more like you're pepping yourself. It's like giving yourself a pep talk, kind of like if you see someone like people who work out, man. They do this a lot, like especially like hardcore sports dudes. Like sometimes you might see them make like ooh faces and like they'll be moving all funky and weird, but they're just trying to get their body loosened up and warmed up so it'll operate maximum with the least amount of wear and tear. It's so today is the day of rage. Then oh, it's false flag rage. I got you. I'll look at it. Doesn't surprise me. Anyway, uh, yeah, in the same way, that kind of works where it's just like you're you're sensitizing, chaining, and anchoring when you're constantly putting out words or trying to. It was like I was saying to someone. It's not just the word sometimes, but it's the way it's said and with what emotion. Like, um, you know, it's that's like really sometimes what more of what discerning is like you can not only do you hear the information presented, but you can hear the state of mind of the person presenting the information by the tone of the voice, and also you can hear like if someone's sad, if someone's hyper excited, if someone's angry, if someone's like really desperate to plead with you, to really plead their case or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can sense things about what people are trying to say by the way they're trying to say it. Sometimes that's you can sense deception that way, or you can just find extra input. And sometimes that's the way that these these abuser types they they do it in such a subtle covert way is like they might say something if everyone in the room was listening, but they could say it in such a way and convey such a like look and say just you and them only understand that particular emotion or something. Somehow it it only identifies with insider people, uh and you can trigger a larger nostalgic emotional reaction. And look, it just makes the other person uneasy, and when a person's uneasy and unconfident, it's they're easier to trick if they have to, I guess, or it kind of it stifles you in a way, and it's also in a way it's kind of like, man, it's weird. It's like a wrestler when they like if they spread out their arms, they're gonna try to, in a way, they come in with their arms tucked in, but they can spread out and sprawl out real quick, and then jump back up into the tucked up position. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of it's a really weird tactic, and it comes from being probably abused as a child. You know what I'm saying? And like being someone that no one else listens to, that you learn to, like I said, man, kind of impose your influence on the environment in a real kind of uh, invasive way. But I mean, it's really, I mean, it's crazy how long and how much shit they can get by you until you recognize what really is behind it. And it kind of sucks, man, that I had to uh, play that game, man, because it's so psychological, but and it's such a kind. It's just like I don't know, man. It's not being it's being real, uh, not genuine, or just being really acting as if when it's a different way. Like kind of in the Bible, it says, "Beware of those who speak peace yet have war in their hearts." It's kind of like that, man, in a way. Uh, so not everyone who just is out talking out loud, thinking out loud, is talking to themselves. But sometimes it's like people can just like maybe they grew up and they heard it, and now they do it because it's just been uh, indoctrinated into you, and you can't help it. And then it's like it's so deeply ingrained in you that you're doing it by second nature, and you don't even consciously realize you do it. You just uh, it's it's not really a good habit, man. It's because you should say what you mean. Uh, and it's not good. It's like it's not a it's 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 not a good way to operate, man. Kind of on it's very deceiving and it looks harmless, but then again, when a person starts using it more, wields it better, it can really get way out of control. Especially when you get other people in on it, and it's just really weird. It and it is kind of like magicianry in the way you can control the conversation. I mean, it is kind of like that, like and you can control the environment and kind of stifle it in a way. It's like or at the same time, or get it all kind of get everyone with their guard down and get them all kind of it's point to the mountain, strike the grindstone. Well, we're gonna start this all off nice and fun and playful, but then when it goes evil later, after the person done had time to probe your mind or your psychological weaknesses and your you know it's really fucked up, man. And I mean, I don't even know why I would even engage in these weird exchanges with people, but it just seems like a lot of people, man, really are psychological, like, and they're really got a spirit of competition deep down somewhere, and they're not outright with it in a way. It's like so they do it in a real covert manner, and I don't know. It's like someone who's on probation. They can't wild out unless they're retarded. So they got to learn a new way to do the same things that they was doing or get the same rush thrill. It's kind of like a lot of people do bad things sometimes because they didn't get enough attention, and negative attention is replaces the good attention in a way. Uh, so some people get wired weird, man, and get you in a situation where it's just like can't really escape at the moment. So they got their time to work their magic in a way. Their black magic.